This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
That is not the case for our show topic today.
Oh,
this is widely regarded as one of the worst wrestling pay-per-views of all time. But
thank you, Conrad, for building me up and then kicking me right in the balls.
It's not your fault. Boy, the news is all over when we're talking about Great American Bash 91. We sort of teased it up and teed it up last week. This is the first show without Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair has been fired on July 1st by Bill Hurd. He's no longer in WCW.
That'd be Jim Hurd.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But Bill Watts would have not fired him. So you'll know.
You know, what's funny is Bill Hurd was the biggest car dealer here in Alabama for years and years. And I just made Bill Watts and Jim Hurd have a baby, and now they're a Chevy dealer. Bill Hurd. Anyway. So the story, and we've beat this up. And by the way, I'm pretty proud of it. A really nice interview with Jim Hurd for the first time in decades over at adfreeshows.com.
It's excellent.
Thank you.
Highly recommend it, Conrad. Highly recommend. And I know the guy probably about as well as anybody from my time working for him that doesn't have some guys still hate the guy. And I find that unhealthy.
Yeah, I agree.
You're shitting me. You hate a guy that you haven't worked with in
30
decades.
Years. 30 years.
Yeah. And is that what you got stored in your head? You're carrying that shit around? Okay. Well, to each his own.
I feel the exact same way. I had a great time visiting with him. We got to ask him some questions and sort of hear his side of the story. Can't recommend it enough over at adfreeshows.com, but boy, we've got to talk about the chaos as we head into this. I mean, is this probably peak Jim Hurd chaos? The whole Ric Flair walking out while he's the champ deal?
Well, it's ranked right there. Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. It was a tough place to work in and have fun. About the most fun we had, quite honestly, was doing these live shows. TV days were insufferable getting to that day. But once you got there and you got involved, it wasn't bad. Because all the stupid decisions were made before television. But yeah, it was chaotic. It was chaotic, and you could almost feel things unraveling with no solution based on the hand that was there in sight.
We're fresh off of a Clash of the Champions that was headlined by Ric Flair and Bobby Eaton. We want to talk about Bobby here in a moment, but for now, let's talk about him in the context of 1991. It's the second lowest rated Clash ever at that point. The quote unquote smart fans knew that Bobby Eaton was one of the best in-ring performers around. He had just set the territory on fire 5 or 6 years prior to this with the Midnight Express. And now he's in here with his old pal, Ric Flair, of course, the best friend of Arn Anderson. These are Arn's two very best friends in wrestling at this point, but fans weren't tuned in for it. Was it just, we had sort of typecast Bobby to wrestling fans at home as he's a tag team wrestler, so he can't compete with Flair?
Well, Bobby wasn't hot, Conrad. Right. I mean, simple as that. Nobody can ever intelligently debate the skills of Bobby Eaton.
Right.
If you talk to the boys about if they had a big match or they need to go out and deliver a really special performance, I promise you Bobby Eaton would come up in that conversation as their opponent, without question. But he had no momentum. He had no traction. He couldn't cut his promos. There's a lot of things that are working against Bobby in that deal. Here's what you did know for sure. That there was not a lot of magic in the box office, but you knew that when the bell rang, it was going to be solid as hell. It's going to be good. That's what you knew for sure. But people just didn't have an emotional investment in the rivalry or the match. And Bobby had no momentum. Those are all death nails.
It's a weird time for WCW as a whole, but let's circle back to talk about Bobby for a minute, because you and I both got some sad news in the last, week or so, 10 days or so. Unfortunately, we lost Bobby Eaton's longtime wife, Donna Eaton, who was the daughter of superstar Bill Dundee. And Bobby and Donna were sort of a rarity in the wrestling business. married for a long time. And unfortunately, she's no longer with us. Did you ever meet Donna Eaton?
I think I did once or twice, Conrad, but it was kind of in passing. Because I remember talking to her about the fun I had with her dad when he was booking for Mid-South.
Right.
I remember that conversation real well, but I didn't meet her often. It just wasn't at the same place, same time, all that, that much. But yeah, in wrestling years, they were married like 450 years because they're, like you said, wrestling relationships seemingly aren't built for the long haul. And when you hear of one that is, and there are some,
yeah,
that, you kind of admire that, quite frankly.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.